Hello, this video is going to be about Clip Studio's brushes. I finally got to grips with the brush making sort of setup after a few trial and errors. So I've made a pastel brush kind of branching off this charcoal brush here and changed a few settings, and I really like this brush. It's kind of cool and there's loads of texture to it. It kind of reminds me of denim a little bit with that diagonal pattern. So with this I've exposed a lot of the parameters based on the brush settings. I've finally figured out how to do the scattering properly. So you have to make your brush really big and you get the scattering effect, and then you would increase your particle size. You can see it's super slow because of the gap, I guess, is quite low. So there we go, you can get that, and then we can increase the density as well to get a bit more. There's other things you could probably change within those settings. So if I go into the little spanner here, you can see it flicks between these two images, and that's under the brush tip. So you can load in different images there. I realised the hardness doesn't work because these are textures. It only works if you use the circle, as you can see. There's a few other things that I didn't quite figure out, like why these aren't activated, the blending color modes. So I'll make a new video once I figure those out. But so everything's kind of working cool. You've got your brush size, stroke, and let's say I wanted to change the parameters in here even more, like the direction of the particle, or even make that based on the spray towards center, get this sort of effect. Direction of whole spray means it kind of follows the brush. Direction of line, not quite figured that out. That might be if you use the line tool, possibly. It does look to be doing something like that, but otherwise it's kind of following it as well. Otherwise I like using the direction of whole spray. Yeah, so, and you can also like change the initial rotation there as well. So yeah, the main thing that's different from Photoshop is these three, the particle density, the particle size. So you can actually change the actual brush size but keep the same spray radius. The spray radius is based on your brush size then. Right, and then you change the particle size, which is like the little plots that make that up, the size of those, the particles. Right, so that gives you a bit of more range. And if you want to slow down this, the amount that it's spraying, I'm pretty sure that's the density. Right, but it's got a kind of opacity effect to it, which I don't quite like. So there's a few things that I'm still not too sure of, but the gap, I guess, will also help. Yeah, the gap will actually help that. A bit fiddly between these, but once you get used to it, it's almost the same as making brushes in Photoshop. There is some cool blending techniques in here, but I've yet to figure out why these are not lit up. So yeah, I can always come back to that, but you can look at any other brush, you can see it's got the color mixing, whereas mine doesn't have it, and I can sort of maybe figure out why, like if there's any difference. You can jump between each thing. It's not anti-aliasing, it's a brush tip shape. It could be maybe if it was like maybe it's because it's only one image. So if I did go back to my one, let me just duplicate that. So duplicate subtool, that's how you make up a new brush. So I'll keep that safe, and then I can click on that and discard it. Oh, let's just see if the blending works again. Nope, so it's not that. overflow, correction, taper, enable snapping, none of those ways. Watercolor edge, doesn't have a dual brush. Texture, rough texture, density, let's see what I've got in mind. Yeah, I've got loads of things in here. Yeah, because I wanted to expose all these parameters, that's true. Yeah, so I've not quite figured out why that's locked for my brush and not for the other ones. So I'll come back to that at some point, but yeah, I'm quite happy with this new brush. I will upload it to G Drive, anyone who's using Clip Studio, and I'll put a little link in the description. And that's pretty much that. So I really like this brush because you make it nice and small. We get this nice, it's almost like a kind of pencil, but it's got that extra texture to it. I think there's just really nice detail line. I could do a whole image like this, and you can see now that I've exposed these texture based parameters, I can increase the texture density or decrease it, get something a little bit sparse, and open this up. I've got all the other things, invert texture, scale ratio, rotation angle, make the brush a bit bigger so you can see it, brightness, contrast, can use different colours and get some nice quick textures for like a rooftop or something like a stairway. Change the scale, get something even bigger there. It's just nice being able to change these textures on the fly like that. You can expand that out so we get a bit more range. It's just a case of experiment with it a bit, get used to the settings. Yeah, but I really like that. It's a nice brush, and you can invert the texture again, get those lines, emphasize density, turn that off, texture density, that gives us good control as well. I could always go in here and change the texture itself, get even more. Really like that. That actually reminds me of trying to draw with crayons on some canvas or something. And do a bit more contrast. It's nice that you can see the result there. Brightness, rotation angles, scale ratio, density. And decrease the brush size a bit as well. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this video. Hopefully I'll be able to do a little bit of time lapses of me making something in Clip Studio. I've only made like 1 or 2 pieces using this software completely, and yeah, it's quite a big switch from Photoshop if you're used to that. But you get used to it fairly quickly, and I think it's a wee bit more artsy-fartsy than Photoshop, especially some of the dynamics with the brushes. There's loads of options when you come in here as well to do with tilt, velocity and random, which I really like. Velocity is based on the pen speed, so you can, if you went slow or fast, you can actually influence something as well. Yeah, cool stuff. Thanks for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.